show people the art of what is possible. Show people what you can build with this technology. You can build any type of website, any type of web application. So with that great power comes a lot of potential ambiguity. Making demos that showed the technology that were not just throwaway demos. And you look at it and you would start to think, wow, light that spark in somebody's brain to know, okay, based on this technology, here's the thing that I can go build now.
You definitely helped build the public perception of DevRel at Vercel, and you grew the Next.js development community to millions and millions of devs. Did you have like a sort of formula or system that you came up with to essentially guide yourself to have this sort of structured teaching method?
I didn't know that this was an option, especially coming out of college, university. Like, they don't really do, at least where I went to university, like they don't talk as much about the other roles that are still doing software, but are not a software engineer. So I didn't really know this existed. But I think that the common thread amongst a lot of people who end up in DevRel work is that they have experience as a software engineer. They've been building production software at some points. And then a little bit down the road, they end up kind of transitioning into something like this. It's much easier to do it that way than to start trying to teach people without having that applied experience of, here's this time where I had to debug this really gnarly error, or, I wrote this really wild code back in the day. Like, my first internship was writing C# code and doing a lot of tests. So I was basically doing a QA engineer role, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was just totally figuring it out as I went. This was a long time ago back in college. But yeah, it's funny to see how it kind of transitions over time. But going back to DevRel at Vercel and Next.js, I think the thing that I tried to do was show people the art of what is possible. Show people what you can build with this technology. Next.js is a tool that you can use for anything. You can build any type of website, any type of web application. So with that, great power comes a lot of potential ambiguity. Like, what am I going to build with this thing? I can do anything with it. So to try to show how the features work and to get people excited about what we're building, it was helpful for me to build demos that were both practical, but also polished and exciting. It was what actually got me interested in taking the role at Vercel in the first place, because they had done a very good job about making demos that showed the technology that were not just throwaway demos. They were actual real applications where you could go look at the code and you're like, oh, this is actually structured pretty well. I learned something from reading this code. It had a nice design. It was very practical. And you'd look at it and you would start to think, wow, I just have so many ideas for things that I can build now. And those are the best type of advocacy / demos, I think, is you kind of light that spark in somebody's brain to know, okay, based on this technology, here's the thing that I can go build now, which is, I think, the fun part.
Today's episode is sponsored by Inbound, my own product. Inbound is the best way to send and receive emails, all through a super developer-friendly API and SDK. You can set up webhooks on email addresses to trigger certain actions, or even integrate with your existing AI platform. Try it out today at inbound.new. You took that ambiguity of Next.js and you turned it into a product that basically, when somebody watched one of your videos, they're like, wait, I can build my own project with this. I can do this with this. What do you say are like indicators for good DevRel work? A lot of companies, they don't really know how to grade DevRel.
I think it comes down to taste. And there's a taste in how to build good software and how to teach how that software was built or explain a concept. So maybe counterintuitively, but I find that some of the best DevRel work that I see, it's not from people who have done it for 15 years, or it's not from somebody whose job title is to do DevRel. It doesn't have to be that way. Anybody can do this type of educational work. And I think it stems from being or attempting to be a subject matter expert in something and really caring about the experience of how someone is going to read or consume that piece of content and how they're going to feel and how they're going to take it in. So you don't have to be the world's foremost leading expert on Swift. So let's imagine I wanted to do something on Swift. I kind of know how it works, but not really super well. But because I have this empathy for somebody in my shoes, kind of in the same boat, I might be able to do a video or a blog post or some kind of educational thing on, I write TypeScript day to day. And here's my experience using Swift. Here's my experience vibe coding a Swift app. And you can make that connection for people who might be similar to you. Like here's how a feature in TypeScript corresponds to a Swift feature. Or here are the things on the web that are missing on mobile and that I wish that I had on mobile, and vice versa. And I think that I see a lot of people fall into this trap of trying to make content that is basically null and void with ChatGPT now. Like how to set up my React and Redux application with ESLint 9 and blah, 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 blah. Like you can still do that. You'll probably win some SEO points and you might be able to do it very well. It's just not that interesting anymore, in my opinion. What I like to read are things that nobody else can put online. Nobody else could say what Lee's story is, because it's my lived story. It's my experience. Nobody can write a blog post about how, I had this experience in this internship and then it took me to this job. And then based on this experience on the job, I learned this thing. It's my story. And I would love to see more people kind of lean into that angle of the things that they learned on the job from their work, their opinion on how the world should work, how the software should be built, and their taste too. Because ultimately, the sum of the articles, blog posts, videos, stuff that you put out as a educator, as a DevRel person, you are having an opinion about what your taste is. So you need to consume a lot of good things so that you can understand what good looks like. And then you're kind of always pushing the boulder up the hill to try to be 1% better towards that version. Like I was just watching a video I'm doing for a course that we're releasing for Cursor on AI foundations. And I think it's some of the best video work I've done. And there's still like little things where I'm like, I could have done that better. And next time I'm going to do this little thing better. It's having this very unapologetic, but also, not brutal, I guess, but being very honest with yourself about if it is your best work or if it's not your best work, and being excited about the craft and just waking up and getting better at it. Like even my video setup right now, I like it and I put a lot of energy in getting the video setup better. And there's still like lots of little tweaks that I want to make it better that most people would probably look at and not even really see. But I just consumed a lot of high quality video content. And I'm like, I know there's something that the video crew that MKBHD has that like, they've got that dialed in. And like, I don't have it dialed in like MKBHD has it dialed in with his red cameras and
you're going to get the camera
that's
arm.
The goal. I want to dial in like that.
No, there's never a stop to how much you can raise the bar. And like, I really love the argument you also made about like quantify impact of developer experience, developer relations. It's about taste. It's about producing something that is pleasant to people. And I actually like have seen some teams go the opposite way of just going soulless on numbers, on impressions, whatever. What are your thoughts on that?
It all stems from a lack of understanding from leadership, CEO, whoever. If they're pushing you to do that, they just don't get what it means to do DevRel in the first place. And I think that is probably problematic because it will push you to do the wrong things. I think if you step back, and this is why I see some people talk about like, I can't believe we're still doing DevRel. DevRel's dead. And you talk to these people and you learn more about what they're expecting of what DevRel is. And it's almost always not what the people in the job do on the day-to-day. So when you go, like, for example, I joined Cursor, and you go and look at what the jobs to be done are. Somebody needs to do marketing for the products that you're releasing. That's both releases, but also teaching people how they work. That release is going to have some documentation. So that needs to be up to date and accurate and hopefully easy to consume. You want people to engage and follow you online. So you're going to put some stuff online on social media. Somebody's got to do that. And ideally the content's good and interesting and it's not wasting people's time. It's very helpful. Ideally the stuff you're putting out, you're showing people what you can build with the developer tool. So somebody's got to build those demos. It's going to take an engineer to actually go build that. The marketing person probably isn't going to build that. bonus points if they do, but usually that's not what happens. And so on and so forth. You can go down the list of these jobs to be done. Somebody's going to do these jobs. So you can call it DevRel, you can call it whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. But this is why I've seen, I think what it comes down to is most people who were formerly software engineers don't want to be marketers. They have this aversion for marketing and they don't want to be labeled or bucketed into that category. Also because it's kind of a scary career shift where it's like, oh, I'm shifting from an engineer to be a marketer. Does that mean that every job I'm going to have from here on out is going to be something with marketing? Versus like, I'm still an engineer. I'm working on developer relations, developer experience, so call it. A lot of people who go into that route then end up eventually just saying, I'm going to go back to writing code. I'm just going to go back and be a normal engineer. And this was fun, but actually the other thing was great. So I think that's part of the reason why there's a little bit of the fragmentation between traditional marketing and developer marketing. But I think the jobs to be done are very real and somebody's got to do them. So why not DevRel?
And one thing I'm particularly curious about from personal experience so far operating in DevRel is hiring people on your team. How do you find people who can do everything DevRel does?
Yeah, I usually screen on two things, and this will depend on the level of experience too. It's basically taste and potential. So someone might have great taste, and it seems like they have a lot of potential, and they might be just fresh out of school. Like they might not have a bunch of experience doing this type of work, but you can kind of get a feel that it seems like this person has a strong opinion on what good looks like and is surprisingly well tuned in to the type of taste that I resonate with or that I'm trying to put out into the world. And then giving them a lot of feedback on what good looks like so that they can level up the quality of their work. So it's taste, it is potential, and it's like agency / focus. So for somebody who has a lot of agency, they'll just go learn how something works. They'll write the blog post. They'll go make the video. If the output or the quality of that output is 80%, but they're receptive to making it better and they kind of know what it looks like, they have this feeling internally. They know it's not 100% great yet, but they need that feedback to help calibrate and push them towards the right direction. And I think that's been really helpful for myself in hiring people and trying to help them grow in their career. And then also just kind of myself as I'm getting better and trying to improve at the craft is trying to surround myself with people who I think have good taste and that can help me refine my taste.